much hot, meaty juice. Oh, the bun is so nice and crunchy. It's like a pie crust. The patty inside is full of chopped scallions, and the black pepper gives it a nice bite. My mouth is filled with the rich but mellow flavor of the ground pork. It's delicious!
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Chefs of Anime. I'm Vince.
I'm Taylor.
And we're ready to go ahead and make some amazing dishes for you today. In the Food Wars episode, we saw Soma make a black pork pepper bun at the Moon Festival. He decided to take a bunch of ingredients and pull a bunch of different resources together in order to make it, and was pretty successful, despite how much it didn't sell at the Moon Festival itself. Before we get started, just want to give a quick shout out to Walking Dog Records. Thank you so much for the free lo-fi and future-based music that is great to use for any type of content creator, whether you're live streaming or creating YouTube videos. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the recipe for the pork bun.
We are going to be making our own dough. We're going to show you guys how to put together all the filling for it. And we are even going to make our own approximation of a Chinese 5-spice to put inside and just elevate it to that next level.
Let's do it! Let's make it! Let's go! The recipe for your pork bun dough is going to consist of several ingredients, such as 2 different types of flour. You're going to do a half and half portion of 200 grams of all-purpose flour and bread flour, so that's 100 grams each. Then you're going to need 1 tablespoon of sugar, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of sesame oil, and then when you go ahead and make your yeast, you're gonna make sure that you have 1.5 tablespoon of that yeast mixed in with 4.5 ounces of water. So first off, let's go ahead and put that right in there. You wanna give that a little bit of a stir. You're gonna let that bubble over a bit. I'm gonna let that sit on the side for now. Then you can go ahead and put in all your dry ingredients. And then finally, your wet ingredient. And it's okay if you use the same whisk. Go ahead and mix that all up together. You want to make sure that you go ahead and incorporate everything evenly, so make sure you scoop up the sides, and then you'll start to see that wet ingredient combined with the dry ingredients. You'll start to see some clumping. Go ahead and just keep stirring it and making sure that it spreads out evenly, grabbing the sides, reincorporating it in. Then, after you reincorporate those sides in, you want to make sure you grab that mixture of yeast and water, pour it right on in, and then go ahead and mix it all up together. It's okay if it gets a little messy. It's dough. That's looking good. It's gonna get super thick, and when it does, you're probably gonna have to start using your hands. So make sure you kind of pull out as much as you can from your whisk. And you're gonna wanna start kneading it, incorporating that bread and all-purpose flour together. And if it just gets so messy at this point, you might as well dump it out onto a nice clean surface. If you can help it, make sure if you got any of that leftover lightly floured stuff right there. And heck, just get messy. What you can do to make sure you get everything incorporated, you can kind of flatten it out a bit. Kind of grab all those extra leftovers, throw it in there, fold it over, and kind of repeat the same process again. Soon enough, you are gonna get some wonderful looking dough for those pork buns. I mean, look at that. That is amazing.
All right, and once your dough has that nice, smooth, elastic consistency, you're just going to set it back in your bowl. Cover it up with some plastic wrap. And then if you have the time, you can let it sit for about an hour in a nice warm spot. And in the interest of time, we are actually gonna set it in a small oven, set to about 110 degrees for about 20 minutes to let it rise. And now we're gonna start work on making our own 5-spice blend. So we're going to get our oven or stovetop on. I'm gonna set this just as low as I can possibly make it. And then we'll add in 4 out of our 5 spices. This first is cloves, fennel, sesame seeds, and our Sichuan peppercorns. Everybody in the pool. There you go. And we're just going to kind of let those roll around a little bit in there and start releasing all of the oils so that that flavor gets even more amped up. And then we just kind of hang out for a second and let it do its thing. All right, now we're starting to really smell it, which means it's working.
Yeah, that actually really smells good.
Just about there. And now with our spices toasted, we can get our mortar and pestle. And I'm going to just pour those freshly toasted spices right down in there. Grab this guy and start muddling and crushing to open everything up. And once I've got a nice powdery consistency, I'm going to add in the last of the spices, the fifth, cinnamon. I also have a nice neutral oil here. I'm using grapeseed oil because it doesn't have any strong flavors that are going to impact the spice blend. We're just going to add that in there. And then get everything nice and homogeneous. And there we have it, our very own 5-spice blend. Now we're going to start working on the filling of our black pepper buns. First, I'm going to get some green onion chopped up. This is just going to be a real loose kind of chop. I'm not looking for anything specific. It's not going to be pretty. They're going to be inside of the buns. Okay, with that done, I'm going to get our pork ready to go. That is about a ½ pound of just ground pork rib meat. And then we're going to start adding our other ingredients that we're going to mix in with our pork. So, we first have our 5-spice blend that we just finished making. Tablespoon of soy sauce, tablespoon of sake, tablespoon more of sesame oil. And this is about a 50-50 mix of just regular ground black pepper and a little bit of the secret ingredient, MSG. And now, just get your hands real nice and dirty and mix it. Mix it real thoroughly because you want all of that pepper to permeate through all of the pork. All right. Now, thoroughly mixed, we'll set that off to the side and let it marinate for a little bit while we get our buns ready. And now that we have our bread out of our warm oven, you can see how it has doubled in size. You're just going to take that and turn it out onto a lightly floured surface. Now we're going to cut this into about 8 equal size portions.
Kind of equal size portion.
And we're getting as close as we can here.
And now you're going to roll up your 8 dough segments into little balls. And if the uneven sizing of your dough really bothers you, you could just redistribute it like this.
Flatten that out into a nice disc. And then I'm going to put a little of the pork right in the middle.
And what you want to do is make sure you fold it like so. Take out any excess. Give it a little pinch. Turn it upside down. And then place it on your sheet. And make sure it's kind of spaced out a bit from all the other ones. And when you're all done, they should look something like this.
Now that we have our pork buns rolled out and filled, we are going to cover them with everyday tea towel, and we are going to put them back into our oven for about another 20 minutes, right around that 110 degree mark.
Whee!
Now, our 20 minutes have passed. Our second rise has taken place for our buns. Now we're going to get them prepped for the final bake. Now that we have them set out, I have an egg yolk that I have separated from the white. I'm just going to brush the tops of our buns. And we're going to sprinkle some sesame seeds right on top. Perfect. Now they're going to go in an oven at 355 degrees for 25 minutes. Now our 25 minutes are up and our buns are done cooking, so we can pull them out of the oven.
Ooh, that looks good. Look how golden brown this is. I literally cannot believe how delicious this looks. It looks great.
Turned out very nice.
And here you have it, the black pepper pork buns. They look amazing. They're golden brown.
Look wonderful.
Yeah, those toasted sesames look so good. It almost looks like there's this like crazy caramel look to it. It's not sweet at all. It's still hot and my fingers are burning, so I'm gonna stop holding them. Any comments about this before we eat them?
As far as the recipe goes, it was kind of a little bit difficult because we were sort of blending two sources together. So we just kind of made the best of both worlds and kind of used elements from both of them to try and make this together. And that I think is one of the really, really cool parts about making this kind of a dish, is that aside from the dough, you can put any filling in there you want. We did the black pepper pork buns, but you could throw anything in there. It could be chicken, it could be teriyaki, whatever you want, you can make this.
So we'll make sure to go ahead and put the recipes down in the description below. But until then, let's go ahead and just try it out.
Let's try it out.
Oh, that smells good already. You can smell the light
Cinnamon, the cloves,
Yeah.
the spices.
The egg kind of comes in a little bit already too. Itadakimasu.
And all that pepper really gives it a little bit of a kick
Oh,
there
yeah.
too.
It really does. My mouth is trying to figure out like what type of different spices are in there. And if you're not used to having a lot of different spices in your food, this really makes my taste buds go into a roller coaster. It's flaky. It's delicious.
No, those are going to rapidly disappear as soon as we're off camera.
The fat from the meat kind of like is soaked up by the dough. It just tastes really, really good.
I'd probably put it at a good 7.5 or an 8.
Yeah, I was thinking about 7. I don't know why. It didn't necessarily wow me at all.
It's very good.
Yeah, it's good. I think for all intents and purposes, I think this would make a great like lunch snack.
Absolutely.
Probably put some broccoli on the side and just go to town, maybe have it at dinner. Yeah. Well, guys, that basically wraps up the entire episode for Chefs of Anime. Thank you again so much for watching us. And if you liked what you saw, make sure to go ahead and tip us with that like button and subscramble to the red button on the side.
And if you want to know when the next dish is up to the pass, go ahead and ring the bell.
Don't forget to go ahead and check us out on Twitter and Instagram for all of our finished products and pictures of our dishes. Once again, I'm Vince.
I'm Taylor.
And we're the Chefs of Anime.
Thank you so much for watching.